Hello, everybody. We are back. So here we are. This is Brian Friedman. This is 2026, and we are back with the view from the top. And we have got such a great show lined up for you today. As you remember, we ended last year. We were celebrating our top 100 global mobility AI experts, AI champions. And today we have not one, not two, but three of them on the show with us today to be talking about how they are using AI in their work life. And hopefully we're going to share ideas with you. You're going to share ideas with us about how we can all use AI to make our wonderful world of global mobility better. I see Emily's in the house. Hi to Emily from France. I know Ray's in the house. People coming from all over the world. It is so great to see you. And if I'm the last one to say it, Happy New Year, everybody. So we've got so much to talk about today. We've got an immigration update. We've got a global mobility update. A lot going on in our world. And of course, we've got loads of breaking news to share. But you know how it works, everybody. Join the conversation, write in the comments box, tell us who you are, where you are, what's going on in your world. If you want your CPE codes, we have CPE codes from ERC, from SHRM, from HRCI. These are the codes here. I'll leave that up for a moment or two. So if you want your codes, they're there. And many, many thanks to our good friends at Worldwide ERC for the GMS and CRP codes. And again, many, many thanks to our friends at Rocket Mortgage for providing the HRCI and the SHRM codes. Next week, we've got another fantastic show for you. We've actually got the Chief Human Resources Officer of Lumen on the show, and she's going to be talking about how Lumen has gone through a massive transformation journey from a time of financial instability to where they are today, and it's how people have led the change. It's going to be a fascinating conversation, and we're very excited. We've got Anna White, the Chief Human Resources Officer of Lumen, with us on the show. But what's been going on in the wonderful world of mobility since we last met? I mean, there's been loads and loads of people getting new jobs, of promotions, of job opportunities. We can't share them all in just a minute, but let's just share some of the job opportunities, some of the movements, what's been going on in our wonderful world of mobility in the last week or so. So let's have a look. So there we have it. Congratulations to everybody who's got a new job, everybody who's been promoted. And if you're looking for a job, there's plenty of opportunities out there. And when we talk about opportunities, of course, it'd be remiss of me not to mention in particular that we at Benevo are hiring a client success manager in the US. So if that's anything that is of interest, again, do apply through the Benevo website. Anyway, we're going to move on now. We're going to be talking about immigration, and we are really excited the first time this year to have back with us the one and only Julia Onslow Cole. So everybody, you know how it works. Hit the heart button, hit the like button, hit the applause button, and let's welcome to our stage Julia Onslow Cole. Hey, Julia,
Hi,
good
Brian.
to see you. Good to see you.
Great
and
to see you.
Before you start, I owe my producer Tally an apology because I was meant to tell everybody that we have a survey available to get feedback on what you like about the show. So if you want to, or if you can help us give us feedback on the show itself, then please do fill in the survey. And I'm sure Tally will share the link in the comments as well. Anyway, enough of that. Julia, tell us a bit about what's going on in the world of immigration and geopolitics at the moment.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. So there was a really good comment in the FT saying, has any year in memory started with such a bang as 2026? And as we all know, have such a very complicated geopolitical landscape, the situation still unfolding in Venezuela, President Trump's statements in relation to Cuba, Colombia, Mexico, Greenland, plus the situation in Iran, and continuing conflicts in Ukraine, tensions across the Middle East.
And we're not even halfway through January yet.
Exactly. A huge amount of geopolitical uncertainty. So I think the first point to make is that from a global mobility perspective, it's really imperative to refresh your crisis management plans. And, you know, at Fragment, we already got our crisis management committee up and running for, you know, for the unfolding situation in Iran. But it's really important, I think, everybody, that you look at your crisis management plans. The second thing to say is I did myself spend most of the second half of last year at almost every occasion that I was speaking about the global economy, saying it was likely to be much worse than was actually predicted. And there was another funny quote actually in The Economist that said, pessimists about the world economy last year had a very poor run. So I think I'm actually included in that statement. But global growth was about 3% in 2025, and that's actually higher than the gloomy forecast from the World Bank. And in particular, we have seen the US economy, although it slowed a little bit, it only fell a little bit. And now global interest rates have fallen in America and China and Germany, and there's a lot of fiscal stimulus. And also what we've really seen is this adaptive power of the markets and a resilience to trade barriers. So the economy is not great, but it's really not as bad as people, including myself, forecast. But that doesn't mean that there is not a huge emphasis for global mobility in 2026 on costs. And one of the things, the Fragment is just about to issue its worldwide trends report, and the top trend is the rise in costs of visa fees, really astronomical rises, which also add to costs and will be right in the budget of global mobility. So my second point, the first is crisis management. Second point, this is going to be very much a focus 2026 on costs. And then I just wanted to pick out a couple of really important things from global immigration. And the first is a US update the Trump administration is really prioritizing immigration enforcement. Now, we've seen these large-scale immigration operations, which have been in the news, but plus we're also seeing a lot of action in relation to employers on their work visa system. And so there's a huge scrutiny now on employee programs, and your compliance infrastructure has never been more important. So two things really. One is the focus on compliance, and the second is to really support individuals. Because again, you'll recall that last year we said this was a new focus with the Trump administration looking at individuals, but now it's sort of turned to employers, so individuals still need a lot of support. So looking at compliance, that's my third big topic. And then also the fourth thing is really elevating all of this to the C-suite. Again, the whole of last year we talked about what can you elevate to the C-suite, but these are key things that you need to be right on top of, and you need to be elevating them. And finally, I just wanted to finish with border management. So we've seen at the end of last year, was October, this new EES system, this electronic system in Europe, and it's going to be fully operational by the 10th of April. There's been masses of teething problems. Lots of airports, particularly over Christmas, have just thrown their arms up in the air and actually taken all of the digital readers out of service and let people manually have their passports stamped because they couldn't cope with the system. But this will, by the 10th of April, mean there'll be no manual border stamping. This means a lot more delays until the system really is embedded, but also huge emphasis on compliance, because people will not be able to say, oh, that stamp didn't mean that and I wasn't there. This will all be electronically captured. And then also coming in October of next year is the ETIAS scheme, which is this advance warning for European travel, and all non-visa nationals will be required to do pre-trip authorizations. And in the UK, we have the ETA scheme, which has now tightened up quite a lot. There's a lot of relaxation at the beginning, but now there's very tight rules around the ETA scheme. So again, the last point, make sure that you've really got your arms wrapped around your travelers and they know what to do.
That is amazing. We've done geopolitics right down to visa administration, all in 4 or 5 minutes. Quite extraordinary tour de force from you, Julia. And on behalf of everybody in the industry, many, many thanks for everything that you've done. As Tally says there, we do have that survey. Let's just put that up there again. So do click on that survey and give us any feedback on what you'd like to see more of on the show. Talking of doing things differently, we actually have got a new segment we're going to be introducing today. We have got our regular immigration update. We have a tax update. And as of this week, we're launching, it'll be every other week, a mobility update. So to give us news on what's going on in the mobility world, please, for the very first time this segment, everybody hit the heart button, hit the like button, hit the applause buttons. We welcome onto our stage Meredith Morris. Meredith,
hey.
Hi, welcome to the show.
I know, I'm so excited. Hi, everyone out there. I'm seeing all the notes and stuff. So good to see. Great audience. I'm looking forward to
Meredith, you're going to
off.
give us a mobility update. So what's news in our mobility world this week?
I am. So thank you for that. So I thought what I would do in my short time here is really kick off with some trends information. And if, our members out there in our community haven't seen these, there's 2 new reports that have come out from SHRM, so the Society for Human Resource Management, in case you're not familiar with them. So I want to talk about those reports. And one of them is the trends report for the 2026 for our CEOs. And the other one is CHROs. And where are they really focusing their top priorities and how that's going to impact mobility. So I thought that'd be kind of a spicy topic, and it literally played in with the AI theme that many of us have been talking about. So let's get into that. So I want to talk about the CEO report real quick and talk about what their main focus is. So in looking at that trends report, the number one priority and objective for CEOs is adoption of AI, which was really interesting.
So adoption of AI is the number one priority. And we're going to
number one priority for CEOs for 2026. So it was interesting to see that. And then when we look at the CHRO report, then that one is really focusing on the workplace culture. And the focus on workplace culture has more than doubled since last year on CHRO's roadmaps. What does that play into? Well, that plays into, basically mobility. And with 92% of CHROs really focused on that workplace culture, and there's a huge drive on retention strategy. So, those things start playing into how is mobility being strategic within their roles? What are we doing to really be proactive in how we're supporting these high-level initiatives? So I kind of wanted to talk about that and really talk about the AI piece of it. So I want to break that down really quick because I know I have a short time, but let's break that down, right? So when we look at the AI mandate, with 89% of CEOs are expecting AI to redefine their value. But most mobility teams, what we're seeing, and we all know, and I've talked to 3 different organizations this week, we're kind of stuck and held back in what we call a transactional bucket. Well, we're still doing very manual processes. And I mean, this is still on spreadsheets. I still have organizations, even large organizations, that are tracking information employee on spreadsheets. So they're really stuck in that type of moment. And with, CEOs and CHROs really looking at more efficiency, agility in the workplace, and we'll get into cost cutting too, it's becoming a new blueprint for mobility, where we're now moving from more of a transactional bucket to being more strategic and having to utilize AI and technologies in ways that we can do that. So I'll give you an example, from Bernivo's perspective, because, we've been doing AI and it is just full front, like full blast for our team. And we've really developed some unique products. So let me talk how that looks. Like, for example, our mobility intelligence agents, which, Brian, you've seen these, and a lot of our clients and change makers have helped us develop these specific AI tools. Well, when the organization comes to you and looks for, an immigration assessment or cost projection or information to mobilize, let's say, a project team of 20 people into a new location, it may take some teams, days or even weeks to identify all of those pieces. Well, now we have mobility intelligence agents, AI tools that literally their teams can go in, get an immigration assessment, and be able to be strategic and report back to the business in less than 60 seconds. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about really changing how mobility professionals are looking at their roles, how they're doing things, and how they can be more strategic with the organization. So now they can report back to leadership. And that's not just with, MI tools and using AI, but even when it comes to data tracking, reporting, and even in the employee experience. So when we really focus on that, those are some of the things that, as we look at what we're doing every day, there is innovative tools out there that can support. But to really dive in a little bit more, I kind of wanted to talk about, when I talked about the culture and the retention strategies, and of course, cost savings is still there at the top. And always, I'm sure everybody feels that bucket, right? So those cost savings are still there, and looking at really producing more revenue. CEOs want more money, right? And they're going to get more money because they feel like the use of technology should streamline the efficiencies within their organizations. So now let's talk about the culture piece and what does that mean, and the bottom line. So 78% of CEOs are prioritizing organizational agility. So that's huge, right? And we can see that a lot of times when employees are relocating, that's one of the most vulnerable moments in their career. So with that said, looking at ways for mobility teams to utilize AI technology, even utilizing support services on the relocation side and streamlining how that looks, then enabling that type of process to take place is becoming a key initiative. And then we talk about retention. If an employee has a bad experience on a relocation, you're probably going to lose that person.
Absolutely. Okay, so Meredith, thank you so much. That's and every other week we're going to bring you back to talk a little bit about other areas of that's going on. We had a comment come in from Susie. I just want to address that. This is Susie Chapman, and she wrote, "Yes, Meredith. However, the nuances around the human experience and how we can be more strategic, more cost mindful, etc., without losing a sense of human touch for the employees and families entrusted in our care." I was wondering, Meredith, you might say just a few words about how, certainly at Benivo, we combine the technology with the relocation services, the tech and the touch.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Thank you. So, Benivo is offering full-blown relocation management services, and we have been for a while, along with our innovative technology, and we haven't lost the touch. But one of the things that, the audience probably may know or doesn't know, and I'll touch on that, but there's 5 generations in the workforce. So you're never going to lose the human touch, but then you have new generations that really don't need the human touch. So being able to be agile and flexible, where you can order, you can have different types of solutions available for all these different populations, really makes your program agile. So I don't feel like you can ever lose that human touch. And even like our VIP moves and our relocation consultants, we still have that one-on-one. It's definitely needed, especially on the VIP realm and, for these families that need that personalization. But then you have that younger generation that needs more agility, speed, and flexibility. And, I just read an article on Generation Alpha. Are we even preparing for that generation yet? They're going to be entering the workforce in about 4 years. So what does that look like? So I agree with you wholeheartedly. We know that we're a human industry. But there are also tools that can support all generations, along with the services and flexibility and agility that's being required by these CEOs and CHROs.
Absolutely. And, what you're saying, where Susie also is exactly right, is that at the end of the day, it is human beings we are looking after and their families, and the human touch is always important. The secret is to use tech to enhance the human touch, not take it away. We're going to move on because we're going to talk about AI now. And we've got not 1, not 2, but 3 of our top 100 AI mobility champions sitting backstage. So without further ado, let's say a big thank you to Meredith Morris. And we're going to welcome to our stage Karine Aubriot, Olu Euba, and Khadeeja Islam. So everybody hit that heart button, hit that like button, and hit that applause button. Hey, so we've got 3 of our top 100 AI champions. Now, Olu and Khadeeja, I think you've been on the show before. Karine, you haven't. So we'll start with you, Karine. Tell us a little bit about yourself and about mobility at AtkinsRéalis. A bit of a scene set here.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Thank you for inviting me to the show. Really happy to be here. So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Karine Aubriot, Director of the Global Mobility Center of Expertise at AtkinsRéalis. My role basically focuses on transforming global mobility from a transactional process into a more strategic business growth enabler. So our Global Mobility Center of Expertise was recently created last year at the beginning of the year. It was created to simplify the complexity of global mobility And also, it was created to deliver a consistent, high-quality mobility experience for our employees and the business. We talked about the human touch before, so this is really important for us. So at AtkinsRéalis, we see global mobility as a strategic advantage for the future growth of the organization. As you all know, global mobility has evolved significantly in the last few years, specifically with AI, and it's no longer just about moving people from point A to B. For us, it's about aligning the deployment of our talent on projects with our business strategy. So, of course, ensuring compliance and employee experience and seamless experience, personalization, and all of that. But this shift really requires agility, innovation, and strong focus on employee experience. And this is where AI becomes a game changer for this shift in global mobility. So I'm really happy to be here today and to share a little bit of the experience. We've delivered projects with AI this year, so I can share a little bit of that today and also learn from the other panelists here today on their experiences as well.
We'll certainly get into that. Karine, whereabouts in the world are you? Where are you based?
I'm based in Montreal, in Canada.
Yeah. And roughly speaking, can you share volumes? I mean, how many people transfers would you move?
It depends based on the project that we win, right? AtkinsRéalis is an engineering company. We sell consulting for services for engineering project, and we're also specialized in nuclear transformation of energy. So depending on the projects that we gain, you know, it can vary by hundreds depending on the projects that we win. But I can throw out a number about 600 to 800 turnaround population. Yeah, it's a big program, and our program vary very much based on the projects that we win. Sometimes it's in remote location, sometimes it's downtown. So needs vary depending on the projects and the bids that we win.
Got it. Okay, so a lot of project mobility. In fact, we've done shows specifically on project mobility in the past, but it's certainly something we'll come back to as well. Olu, tell us a bit about yourself and WPP.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brian. I'm really honored to be on this show. I mean, I always try to watch the show.
The honor is all ours.
Yeah. So my name is Olu Euba, and I work with WPP as an associate director, Global Talent Mobility. I've been with WPP for over 12 years, and I've been in mobility for more than 16 years. At WPP, we actually see ourselves as consultants, internal consultants, and we partner with our agencies, you know, to connect talent with opportunities across our vast network of agencies globally. And it's a very interesting role, and it's also a very interesting company. And right now, the company is actually very AI focused. You know, adoption of AI is actually part of our strategy, you know, to win for the future.
Which is what Meredith Morris was saying earlier about, and you're living that. I mean, tell us about how important AI is, you know, from a CEO level down at WPP.
Yeah, so currently we have a tool called WPP Open. So that tool for us is, you know, where is the platform, the AI platform. So all our creations, all our content creation is actually done from that tool. And also for the non-client facing areas, we also use it for our assets, AI assets. So it's really very important tool. I've been experimenting with the tool since the day it was launched. And
we'll get into
there. Yeah,
I know you've been doing some fascinating stuff.
Podcasts
in particular. We'll come on to that. But let me bring Khadeeja into the conversation. Khadeeja, tell us, old friend of the show, but tell us, for those who don't know, you tell us a bit about yourself and where you are.
Yes, so hello everyone, and thank you very much for having me back, Brian and Tally. So I'm Khadeeja Islam. I'm a global mobility leader with almost 20 years in-house global mobility experience across multitude of industries such as energy, manufacturing, tech, banking and engineering. I'm currently in between roles at the moment. However, I'm a huge advocate for AI, automation, everything that can make our lives more efficient. So I'm eagerly excited to talk about AI and how we as global mobility industry can drive that forward.
Okay, and we'll certainly get into that. I've got a question I want to ask the audience, ask the panel as well. But the question I want to ask the audience is a very simple one, which is this: is AI making you more efficient or effective in your daily work? And I'll give you 4 choices for an answer. You can either answer, no, it's not. That's not making AI is not making any difference. It's not affecting me. Or you can say, yeah, AI is helping, but it's helping marginally. Or you can say, yeah, AI is helping and it's helping materially. And the last choice you've got is AI is helping and it is helping incredibly. So there you are, out in the audience, you've got 4 choices. How is AI making you more efficient? Not at all, marginally, materially, or incredibly. So let me just start, whilst the answers are coming in from the audience, let me just start with our panelists. So Karine, I'll start with you. On that spectrum, where are you?
Oh, I would be in the incredibly. AI has been a great business partner for me, helping me enhance decision making. I'm using special agents that I've created to help me with some of the tasks that I have to tackle every day. So speed up different process as well, created some workflows again for the different tasks that I have to do in my everyday job. So for me, it's incredibly helpful, gain a lot of efficiency with AI.
Yeah, and Olu, where are you on this scale?
Incredibly. I cannot do without AI. So it's incredibly. I mean, the true value of AI actually lies in its impact on what we do daily, either work or personal, So it's the impact. So it's huge. The impact is huge, and it saves us time and is efficient.
Okay. And Khadeeja, where are you on that scale?
I would echo what my previous colleagues have said just now. I am definitely on the incredible thing, because for me, I can't imagine life without it.
Okay, so I think we're all sort of, converts, if you like, or proselytizing for AI. I mean, it's interesting because we did actually run this as a poll on LinkedIn, and seeing the answers coming from the audience, I think there's a lot of incredibles, a few materials, and a few, maybe not so convinced. When we did the poll, this is what the poll showed. 7% said it's not at all changing their life. 29% said marginally. And then we had 28% said materially and 37% said incredibly. So if my maths are right, it's about 65%, so nearly 2/3, who said it's either material or incredible. But a third, and that actually surprised me, said actually it's not really impacting their lives, or it's marginal. And I mean, I look at it personally, and I know it's only been a couple of years, but I can't imagine a life without it. I mean, it's my chatty friend is my new best friend. From a work point of view or from a personal point of view. And what I want to do during the course of the conversation is maybe share some of the things that people are doing and why it has been so important. By the way, I should say out to the audience is that as part of the Top 100 exercise, we asked people to submit prompts that they were using, and we pulled that into a report. And that report is available, and it's available free of charge. It's on the Benivo website, but equally we're going to post it now on LinkedIn as well, so you can see it. So if anybody wants to download the report that talks about how you can use AI, and in particular goes quite specifically into the sort of prompts you can use, then do download that report and have a read of it. I think you'll find it really, really interesting. But let's go into the detail of it and maybe try and convince the audience and the world how important AI is and get really down and dirty, practical. So I'll start with you, Karine. What have you actually done? And be really specific. What have you actually done where you used AI to change the way that you're working in mobility at AtkinsRéalis?
Yeah, so in our transformation journey, we've done many projects, two of which were really focused on AI, but they were also focused on improving the employee experience, using the user experience. I mean, not only employee, but also managers and people that we deal with every day that request mobility services. So one of the first projects that we did, Brian, was creating a video with artificial intelligence with a tool called Synthesia. So this is a tool that can quickly create videos that employee can access easily from our intranet tool, or that we can send a link to them via email. So we leverage that Synthesia AI video technology to create those videos because they are multilingual. From a click of a button, you can translate the script, but you can also translate the scenes and the text on the scene of the video very fast in multiple languages. And those videos are engaging, they are interactive, and we can tailor them to the audience that we are targeting, right? So this is really good for managers and for our employees that are watching this video. So we created video around assignment briefing, depending on assignment type, tax educational video, what's a tech, what's the tax return process, etc., etc. We also have video on guidance around the global mobility process. What are the different steps of a global mobility journeys and the moments that matter for employee? So instead of having those lengthy PDF that you have to go through to find the information that you are looking for, you can have an interactive video. Click on the section of interest to you. If the video is a bit longer, we have short one. We've created short one as well, but it's kind of very dynamic and intuitive. So this really improves the understanding of the mobility journey for employees and for the managers that are supporting our employees traveling around the world. And hopefully it will reduce the number of repetitive questions that the mobility team receives every day. Synthesia technology is really, really great in terms of creating an easy prompt to start the video creation, but they also have a quick form with few fields that you can enter to create a more detailed and stronger prompt. So this is also very easy to use. You can create your own script, or their AI technology is going to create the script for you. You can also provide all of your branding to the AI tool, and it's going to create your video with your own branding. I mean, the AI is going to do that. You won't have to do that yourself. And one of the recent things they have released, I haven't tried yet, is the possibility to create images and quick clips that you can insert in the video based on a prompt. So no more searching for the perfect image to insert in your video or the perfect clip. You just need to provide a detailed prompt to the tool, and it's going to create that for you. Yeah. So that's one of the example of
come in on that, Karine. I mean, I've actually used Synthesia. It is a great tool, and it is great for doing that. One of the things that we've done as well at Beneva is we've developed a digital human, which does something similar, but actually it allows you to interact personally. So you can have a conversation with the digital human and then even turn the conversation into a different language as you go through. These tools are amazing for enhancing the user experience. And from a management point of view, and you touched on it, Karine, you know, one of the tests I use of if AI can help you or technology can help you is, are you ever doing the same thing as you've done before? You know, if you're answering the same question to a question you've answered before, then that is something that you should be able to do with technology. And that's something that I know you said you're doing with your videos. We can do it with digital humans. There's other ways of doing it. But that's one of the tests, if you like, about how to use technology if you're doing something that can be repetitive. Now, Olu, you've done something similar. You've been creating something. I know you're very excited about the podcast you've been creating. Tell us a bit about what you've been doing at WPP.
Yeah, so we have this amazing tool in the company called WPP Open. So one of the capabilities of this tool is to create podcasts. And immediately, the first time I went on the tool, I was very excited about the podcast. So I just said, let me just try it, So I did a podcast for different countries, country-specific podcasts, personalized to.
So this is where you're providing the script, and it's
I'm providing
it's creating the podcast for you.
Yes,
they are extraordinary. And
yes. So the other use case I did was to use one of our policies, one of our mobility policies. I created a podcast out of it, and it was, the policy was about 12 or 13 pages. So I know there are some group of people that don't like to read, they prefer digital, like video or podcast. So I did that, and it shrunk it to 10 minutes, or is it 10 or 12? But it answered all the vital questions, I also chose the name of the person that was going to talk, so it was quite real. So, and I shared it with my colleagues in the mobility team. They were very, very excited about it. So I also did another one about our mobility process, to explain the mobility journey, So it was a conversation with someone explaining the mobility journey with another person. So it was quite, I shared it with my team and they really loved it. So that's how we're trying to do more of the podcasts to make sure that we cover quite a large area of our processes and policies.
And I know you were saying earlier, I think, that you did download that Beneva report into AI and you found some of the prompts quite useful there. Tell us a bit about some of the prompts, and these prompts are freely available to anybody who wants to download the report, but tell us what you found that was useful in terms of actual specific prompts.
Yeah, so prompting actually is very important when you're doing AI. Effective prompt is key to getting the relevant and accurate output you want. So I know a few months ago, Benevo shared that report with lots of prompts. So I actually copied it out, and I also have some other prompts. So I have, about 15 to 20 prompts that I refer to regularly. Some of the prompts has to do with immigration. You tell the AI agent that it's an immigration consultant.
It's all about giving the prompt a persona, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice. Some has to do with policy benchmarking. Some has to do with employee communication. Some has to do with relocation scenarios. Then the ones there are other fascinating ones that has to do with idea generation. When you want to generate ideas, then also generating a mind map or improving an argument. You've written something and you want the AI to help you to, improve your argument. So there's so many. Then also there's also a prompt that I also have about challenging the conventional wisdom. That's quite
there's so many tools out there and so many ideas out there. I'll come on to some of them in a moment, but let me bring Khadeeja into the conversation. Tell us a bit about your passion for AI and how you're planning to use AI yourself.
So I think for me, in my previous roles, they've been very, very busy, but we've not necessarily had like huge teams. So I've always been an advocate in terms of bringing in assignment management systems and relying on those to automate the process through, whether it's through AI nowadays or whether it's, to do your basic day-to-day admin tasks to reduce the operational tasks for the team so that they can focus on the strategy, because ideally that's what they have all been hired to do. So I've been like a huge advocate for that. where due to kind of internal constraints in previous organizations, we've not been able to necessarily have technology available to ourselves directly. I've preferred to kind of leverage AI adoption and automation through my service partners, because we may not have access directly, but they may have it. So it's all about making that whole ecosystem efficient. It's not just the mobility team itself. It's about everyone who's kind of working within that to kind of to get the person across to the host country, etc., and then managing them when they're there. So I've advocated a lot and improved with my supply partner network in making sure that that's working to bring efficiency for my teams.
So let me give some of my own thoughts and that I would suggest people do, things that I found very useful in my life, and I'd like to just share with the community. Just very, very simple stuff. The first thing is that when you're doing prompt engineering, as we talked about, say what the persona is. The longer in a way the prompt, the better, to get a really specific thing. I think we're all used to going into Google and typing, very, very short questions. These days, you can talk to it. You don't have to type. You can have a lengthy conversation in terms of the prompt and be very, very specific. But you normally end up with a whole conversation as you're doing the prompt. You're having, well, the clue's in the name. It's a chat. You're having as you go through. But my suggestion is this: your very, very last question, when you've got what you want, should be, what question should I have asked in the first place to get this answer? And I always put that in as my very, very last prompt to help me learn myself. The other tips that I'd suggest to the audience, if you're sort of new to this, is when you get an answer, and especially if it's something you're going to share with other people, put it into a separate AI agent, put it into that and ask it to check it. But also sometimes ask it to rewrite it so it doesn't sound like it was written by AI. And these are all things that you can get AI to do. So these are tips that are out here. We've got a couple of questions that have come in. We've got one comment, first of all, from Ricardo Nunez. And he says, and we are just scratching the surface. We're all learners and somewhat AI immigrants. That's a great phrase. Takes time to learn how to get the best out of AI. I mean, Karine, what's your view on that? I mean, are we an AI immigrant, and where do we think we're going to be in, 6 months' time?
I think it depends. Everybody's at a different stage. Some, yes, might be starting the immigration process. Other might have settled in already and feel that they are national of the AI. I don't know. But at AtkinsRéalis, this is part of our everyday operation now. Not everybody's at the same stage, but we started small. So that would be like my tips for the audience. If you are starting and feel like an immigrant, identify 1 or 2 impact use cases that you would like to tackle. Train your team on how to do good prompt engineering, because as Brian mentioned, this is essential to get proper result from AI. So train your team on the prompt engineering, on the ethical use of AI. Try those small projects and then measure the impact to see how you've done. Track the time you save or the number of error that were reduced, and then you can see your progress and slowly grow into being more of an AI expert.
And Olu, where are you on that? I mean, this immigrant journey, as Ricardo put it.
I think for me, I mean, if one looks at their processes and which area, I mean, they really would like to automate, it's a learning process. You have to be able to experiment. You might not get it the first time or the second time, but you have to keep trying. You have to keep experimenting. And what some of the things I find useful is things like, we get a lot of questions from our assignees, creating that chatbot that can lift those questions, so that they can always go there to prompt it and get answers, or the FAQs that you can sieve out from documents that AI can help you, so that you can focus on the strategic part, the human part of the journey, so
And
being able to.
we're getting lots of questions coming in, so I'll just move the conversation on. Here's one from Mo. He says, and maybe Khadeeja, you can come in on this first. What measurable outcomes define AI success in global mobility? Cost reduction, compliance, accuracy, employee experience, or decision speed? And which trade-offs are we consciously accepting? Wow, that's a big question. I'm sorry to give you no notice of that one coming. You're in the hot seat.
I would say it's, I think it's kind of personal specific to each individual and each organization in terms of what they are looking to get out of it. I mean, for some people, it's just to be able to kind of reduce the time that it takes to do certain things. It might be to get more kind of concise information and to be able to kind of give the best, I guess, response in taking into consideration all the various outcomes that could be possible. So I would say, Mohammed, in terms of what you've mentioned, it could be any or all of them, really. But it's your own specific option that you would want to take. And in terms of trade-offs, I would say that it's just what you've got to do is when you are working with AI, you've got to just make sure that the AI is not hallucinating and you're not giving the wrong information. So I guess the trade-off would be the time that it takes to kind of validate what it is that you're exactly going to take from that information that's been presented to you by whichever AI agent or tool that you're using.
Yeah, I want to give one tip out to the audience, actually, because I sometimes see it, and this is a very silly one, but I'll just point it out there, is that AI, and especially ChatGPT, uses a long dash, which is not available on any keyboard. So if you ever see an email or something which has got a long dash in it, then you know that it's been written by AI. So my tip always, whenever I'm using an AI, is to actually delete the dashes and put normal, regular dashes in. And there's loads of tips out there. Another tip you can use like that, as I said, is take something, put it into another AI and say, was this written by AI or not?
And the bold,
and Brian, on this, I have an extension of your tip for the long dash. I'm working with Copilot, and you can actually personalize your tool. So you can tell your Copilot or the AI that you are working with that you do not want this long dash in your results. So then you don't need to delete it manually every time that you get an output.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on a little bit. We've talked about AI really from the user experience point of view, but obviously one of the big areas is the management perspective. And some of the people who responded to the top 100 had been using it to do things like make their accruals more efficient. One person said they'd actually, I think, saved 15% on accrual accuracy, or people using it to predict when visas are going to come up. So here's one, 15% reduction in accruals, and this is one person's response. A shift from reactive auditing to predictive cost models. Let's just pull that one back up on screen, if we may. I think we've lost that banner. By using advanced prompting for financial analysis, companies are seeing a 15% reduction in accrual adjustments. Is that something you've been looking at, using AI from a management point of view to make predictions? And where do you see that going? Karine, do you want to come in on that one?
Sure. We are not there yet, to be honest, Brian. Our focus last year was on employee experience. So we haven't used AI for that, but we have used it on another project where we were able to sort, classify, and filter large qualitative data that we received from a study that we have done or on our global mobility cost estimate functionality. So we surveyed and interviewed our stakeholders worldwide, all the users of our cost estimate tool, and with strong prompts in Copilot, we were able to sort that information, classify it, and get some trends out of the study and the large set of data that we had. So that's what we did. It allowed us to quickly receive insights on what we need to do and start projects and be really active rapidly.
Yeah, I mean, I think things like visas and the whole automation process and the prediction is a clear area where AI is going to come in. And one of the issues, I know we're doing a lot of work on it at Benevo, is predicting the cost, because a lot of companies, you know, the CFO might come down one day and say, well, what are visas going to cost us next year? And a lot of companies don't necessarily know that information, but actually, if you can put your predictive analytics in there, say, well, actually, these are the ones we're going to predict are going to be needed to be renewed. These are the costs, and you can actually come up with an estimate. I think that's a major area. Another area I think we're going to see a lot more is everybody talks about cost estimates, but very few people talk about speed estimates. And I think the phrase I've heard before is time to landing. You know, how long does it take from the date that the team, the line decide that Mr. or Miss X has got to move from location A to location B to them actually being in situ? And again, being able to do those sorts of predictive analytics, I think, is hugely important. Khadeeja, can I bring you into your conversation? Where do you see AI helping management?
I would say that it would definitely help, exactly as you said, both with predictive analytics in terms of budgeting. For, you know, I mean, obviously, it's not going to be able to give you accurate analysis in terms of what your budget may be for the, you know, upcoming year, but it will help organizations understand, you know, the timeframes that it may take, you know, to move X amount of people to, you know, a different country, what the processes may look like. You can also prompt through the prompt engineering, you know, what potential external factors could delay that. So it's something like that, especially in organizations such as Karine's and my previous organizations that I've worked in, which are very project driven. I think that would help quite substantially. I think it's also helped not necessarily with you know, for management, but actually when you're presenting to management, when you're you know, drafting business cases, etc., making sure that, you know, it's a neutral, unbiased view that you're presenting by running it through some sort of you know, AI tool that's out there, because we as humans might miss certain elements, but when you're actually presenting it to get the approval for particular business cases, if you're you know, running it through that, you know, the likelihood is that it will allow you to add important factors into that business case to allow you to, you know, hopefully get it over the line. So I think it's helped myself or other you know, global mobility heads that I'm aware of who have previously done that to get certain kind of business cases over the line.
Okay, we're pretty much out of time. We've got less than a minute left, and at that time we get a question like this: how do we balance the incredible efficiency of AI with the need to maintain the human touch that assignees still crave? And I'm going to answer that one myself very quickly, because we've only got 30 seconds, which is to say that it's not an or discussion, it's an and discussion. So it shouldn't be AI or human touch, it's AI and human touch. And the secret is to use the AI to enhance that in that human touch. And you say assignees still crave. Some assignees will crave it, but going back to what Meredith was saying, maybe some of the others, the Gen Alphas, etc., they don't want to wait for a human to deal with it. They want to get the answer now, immediately. Anyway, we are out of time. I'm going to bring back onto stage Julie Onslow-Cole, Meredith Morris, our wonderful producer, Tally Gorin. And all that really remains for me to say is that thank you to our wonderful guests. Thank you to you, our wonderful audience. We are back next week with Anna White, the Chief Human Resources Officer of Lumen. And also tell us what you think about the show. Fill up the survey. We want to get your feedback. So everybody, this has been The View from the Top. I'm Brian Friedman. I've been your host. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed presenting it. And we are back again this time next week. So until then, have a great, great week. Take care, and we'll see you this time next week. Bye.
Bye.